I'm footballer Marcus Rashford.
And I'm chef Tom Kerridge.
We're joining forces to help families enjoy great meals at home.
We're calling this project Full-Time Meals.
We film 52 videos, a different ingredient every week, and then that's launched on the Full-Time Meals page on Instagram.
We want families to cook these affordable meals so no child goes to bed hungry. One of the main reasons I'm doing it is to just show younger people you're allowed to make mistakes. It's not the end of the world if you make a mistake.
If we can encourage as many people as possible to just have a go at cooking.
It brings everyone together. Everybody loves nice food.
I can't wait to see Marcus get cooking as well as you lot at home.
I'm inviting you to join me and Tom on our cooking journey.
This is the start of Full-Time Meals.
Hi guys.
Hello you lot.
Let's see who's been cooking up a storm at home.
Kitchen kit this week consists of one knife.
A knife.
Fork.
A fork.
Your favourite mug.
Have we got a mug? I want a Liverpool mug.
Some mushrooms.
Mushrooms? Oh, we're not putting mushrooms in ours.
That is heaven.
Oh my God.
It's great to have the team at Bristol City Women giving the mac and cheese recipe a quick go.
The fact that you can bring in different people to connect with different audiences. Louis Tomlinson cooked one of the meals for us. About 1.8 million people watched him make a fish finger sandwich, and that's amazing.
It's actually really banging.
Why don't you show us how you're getting along and follow our page where you can see loads more recipes.
It's a period where you can be together, you can have fun whilst doing something productive.
There really is heartfelt ethos behind everybody that's been involved, and that really does apply to the big brands that are involved as well. And it's all been done supported through Facebook and Instagram.
Marcus and I have created a really cool game filter. Give it a try yourself and see if you can beat my score.
Obviously, the social aspect of it means that you can connect with people instantly, straight away. You're getting that message out there. It's hugely positive.
Hi, I'm Jane Kinnaird, creative strategist at Meta, and we've just seen how the Full-Time Meals campaign happened and everything that went into it. So I'd love to introduce you to two people who were instrumental in making it happen. First, Tom Kerridge, chef. We all know he's an awesome chef, but he was also one of the brains behind the campaign and has devised and made every recipe every week. And also Kat Story, who leads social media at Co-op, who were instrumental in making the campaign more successful and have supported it hugely. So I'm going to ask you both some questions. Hi, nice to see you both.
Hey.
Tom, if I can start with you, that would be amazing. So Full-Time Meals has been up and running since April. So it's no sort of fly-by-night thing. It's a long-term commitment. Can you give us a little bit of an overview of the initiative and how it came about?
Yeah, so I mean, the initiative straight away is to be involved with being part of the Marcus Rashford task force of trying to help end child food poverty. And we kind of connected, both myself and Marcus, because we come from very, very similar backgrounds. You know, we both come from a single parent family, both, you know, we were brought up by our mums who had two jobs. And we both found ourselves in that really fortunate position that we've got a bit of a voice or a skill set to be able to try and make a bit of a difference and a change. And we've all seen how fantastic Marcus has been with his campaigning of really highlighting the problems and trying to be a voice of the children that are in this position of, you know, where they're economically challenged, where there is problems with child food poverty, and just trying to make sure that we can try and do something to help people reconnect or connect with food and drive that uptake of the Healthy Start vouchers, which, you know, Marcus has been a big part of increasing the price and the value of it. And then just trying to build some recipes and ingredients that are all connected, but I think the biggest part of it was trying to make sure that we can destigmatize it. And it's not an issue if you qualify for free school meals. It really doesn't matter. What we wanted to do is make these recipes exciting and fun. And it doesn't matter that they are pocket friendly and they do offer great value for money. It was a case of it just trying to make sure that, you know, if there's a class of 32 kids, that all 32 of those kids want to have a go at cooking it, not just the ones that qualify for free school meals. You know, that was almost an irrelevant part of it. What we wanted to do is connect and to almost a life lesson as well, and just try and make sure that it always is really good fun. It's colourful, it's imaginative, it's creative, and hopefully that it's one of those big meals that kids can get involved with, which means that they can connect to food, but also not go to bed hungry.
Amazing. And obviously, as I said before, you've been highly active throughout the entire project. And I just wondered how you felt that Facebook and Instagram have helped the campaign to reach those people that need it most, and actually everyone, because to your point, it's about making and getting kids interested in cooking. So I just wondered if you could speak to that.
Yeah, the connection points have been really super important. We've been very, very wonderfully supported by big name brands and supermarkets and media in terms of written media as trying to drive that message out there. But actually, Facebook and Instagram have been so instrumental in allowing us to present this message and get it across there on that constant basis, that it's always evolving. And the beautiful thing about Facebook and Instagram is that it is interactive. There is reaction to it. You can have conversations with people that are cooking along with it, are involved with it. The fact that there's some sort of routine that we release the recipe every Sunday, and then on a Monday somebody else has had a go at it, whether it is Marcus or whether it is somebody, another well-known celebrity or friend or somebody that's been a part of it. Which means that you get so many connection points. I mean, if you just read one particular newspaper, you might or you might not see the media profile of Full-Time Meals. However, you know, if you follow different people on Instagram or on Facebook, that connection to it, the reach becomes much, much further. So Facebook and Instagram have been instrumental in the success of the whole project.
Makes me very proud, actually. So Kat, to you, Co-op has obviously been involved in the process since the very beginning. And I was just wondering what, as a brand, what you were hoping to achieve and how the partnerships landed sort of internally and externally.
Cooperating for a fairer world is something, you know, that we're very passionate for. It's why we exist for a business. And access to food and food poverty has been on our agenda for quite some time. So we've had a long-term partnership with FareShare. So during the pandemic, obviously, there was more families that were experiencing food poverty. So as the Co-op, we stood up and, you know, actually campaigned even harder to try and drive more awareness of obviously food poverty. And it was basically the perfect timing, because at the same time, obviously, Marcus was also standing up and using his influence and kicked off that task force. So it was basically a unison, obviously, of us coming together, both, you know, trying to achieve the same thing and, you know, working with Marcus. And then the full-time task force right across all brands has been fantastic. And then the inception of Full-Time Meals, obviously turning it into something that is so engaging and really tangible and fun, has just been amazing. It's taken that campaigning aspect and turned it into like entertainment and education, and it's inspiring people of all ages, and that's just so fantastic to see. Internally, we know our colleagues are so proud of it. They are so engaged with it. They are proud of everything that we do for campaigning for access to food. They are obviously loving the content. They're loving the wide range of influencers and that are getting involved and getting cooking. They often share the content themselves and consume it as well. And externally, obviously, you can see from that video, the results have just been absolutely fantastic. And it's been so proud to be part of this campaign.
And Tom, I think when you were talking about the way that the platforms can reach sort of more people, I think one of the things that I've sort of recognised about the Instagram itself, the account, is you've managed to build a really great community around this. And there's obviously people who are returning every week. And it's not just that they're returning to get the recipes and and have that substantial meal that's more pocket friendly. It's about enjoying cooking. We've seen amazing user generated content as well of people responding and sharing their versions of the recipe that they've created. Like, how does it feel to see so many kids and families getting inspired by your recipes?
Oh, honestly, it's magical. When we first talked about it, myself and Marcus, when we were sat in this garden, we thought if it makes a difference to one family, to one child, then it's 100% worth doing. But actually, the interaction has been great. You know, there has been a community that's been built. There has been a bunch of people that constantly come back to it, and we were right when we were talking about it. We wanted to set out from the beginning that it was a campaign, but we didn't want it to feel campaigny. We wanted it to feel good fun, interactive. The fact that you get, we didn't want to make it feel like it was something that recipes that you get in a doctor's surgery, you know, like telling you, like that feels like it's telling you off. We wanted it to be something that you want to be a part of. It's exciting, it's fun, and that community kind of spirit that we've generated, that we kind of tried to capture and roll with, has grown and grown and grown. And I mean, down to the marketing, the branding, and the influencers of being a part of it, it's all a big part of trying to help be a part of something that isn't just getting a message across about health, about food, about where we should all be. It isn't preachy in any way. It's about trying to create something that is fun, engaging, and it's so amazing to see that kind of community and the feedback when you get from kids that are cooking, I don't know, the fish finger sandwich or one of the tray bakes, or, you know, just anything that's quite simple, quite easy to do, and their first engagement, their excitement. And that's always the one thing about food that I've always loved, that there's always some sort of reward system at the end. You know, you work for 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, you're putting something in the oven. At the end of it, you get to eat something, you know, and the excitement that you see in these kids the first time they've actually cooked something, that there is a process of, I've made that. And that has been amazing. That, I mean, and I say kids, I mean, it was even Marcus, you know, getting Marcus to cook something has been magical. You know, you could see his engagement when he's finished finally cooking something. Louis Tomlinson, you saw when he did that fish finger sandwich, he was like, yeah, it's actually all right. You know, just the fact that you get that kind of reward system from cooking has been amazing. And that community drive has helped create the growth of it, and that kind of snowball effect of people telling other people, becoming involved. And it constantly feels that you're doing good thing that's spreading.
And Kat, to sort of move slightly away from the organic content and the engagement with the families and the kids, to move more towards the campaign, and so more from a marketing perspective. When you think about the Full-Time Meals work across Facebook and Instagram, what really stands out as best in class that other marketers can take away?
I think from the campaign and what we have achieved with it was the collaboration initially from the get-go. So it was having obviously ourselves, the Full-Time Meal team, and obviously Facebook in a room, and having that one goal to be like, we just want to reach more people. We want to get more awareness for this amazing, you know, initiative. And how do we best do that? How do we bring each of our strengths to do that together? So having us all on the same page, and right from the beginning, you know, rather than it being thought of by one person and then getting another kind of input. For me, the AR filter game was just been absolutely fantastic. Like, as soon as that came back in the brief, I was like, oh my God, this is so fun. Like, it was just amazing. Like, it was so creative, a fantastic use of obviously Facebook and Instagram, and just really speaking to that audience, like getting kids excited about food, you know, and then that onward journey after that is obviously to then learn more about this food and then this recipe, and then joining the live on the Sunday. I just thought that was absolutely a genius creative idea. And from a more marketing perspective, the advertisement that we did was the personalization that I was really impressed by, and really pleased to see the results from that. So obviously targeting individual areas, and every week, you know, that content being, you know, hey Manchester, this is what this week's recipe is, these are the ingredients you need to get, and then, you know, head to Co-op, get your goods, and then join us on Sunday. that personalization of those adverts and that content has really helped drive, obviously, that engagement and awareness. People are seeing that in their feeds and they're like, oh, this is actually speaking to me. This isn't just, you know, a mass awareness message. This is relevant to me and what I want to do. So yeah, they're the things that I think I'm most proud of.
Again, I think both of you should be hugely proud of this entire collaboration and partnership. But Kat, you obviously work with a lot of different partners as Co-op. And I guess what are the key components that you think make for a successful media partnership?
I think for me, I kind of touched on it earlier, like a killer brief with internal buy-in is like absolutely, you know, first thing that you do need. Without that brief, it gets a bit muddy, it can be a bit complicated. So first and foremost, that's like really important. And then it's like mutual trust between obviously our partners and ourselves. And, you know, an ambition to break the mold, like, you know, all being passionate about what we're actually looking to achieve and being innovative with it, like being creative with it, not rest on your laurels. Always trying to bring something a little bit new, a little bit spicy to each brief, I think is the best way to get, you know, value out of partnerships.
And so I guess to both of you, like, how important is social media for advocating change or engaging with communities? Because this is a very cause-driven, it's 100% a cause-driven campaign. And how important has social media been to that?
I think social media is a perfect platform for advocating change, for campaigning, and it all comes down because it's people. It is people coming together, talking to each other and making connections and discovering each other, finding more people that are similar to them, that have the same beliefs. It's the peer-to-peer, it's the peer-to-peer like element of social media. It just makes it so perfect because you can just build really strong communities and you can find people that you possibly wouldn't have been able to find before. So yeah, I think it's perfect.
Amazing. Tom?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the beautiful thing about social media is it connects on so many different levels. So, you know, you create a campaign, you can get it out there for as much as possible. But also it is a way of bringing in the Co-op that have been so fantastic and supportive in a way with Facebook, with maybe some branded content from one of the big brands that have come in that is also then available to buy in the Co-op. It's a really good way of building everything in together and building a much bigger community to send out a great message. And from that sort of kind of community that you build, that messaging, that standpoint, particularly because it then gets supported by big name brands, supermarkets that help, and Facebook, then written media and terrestrial television want to report it. They want to talk about it. They want to show how good it is. So, you know, I think the social media probably, particularly for this campaign, has been the most important part of the connectivity, of the way that it works, of the way that you can drive it all forward, that then creates a much wider interest. But also it becomes, you know, it can and does become global. You know, social media reaches everyone. You can have followers all over the world. Not everybody sits there and watches terrestrial television or picks up a copy of the daily newspaper. You know, it's a much better way of getting that message, not just, you know, to people that are locally. You know, that community can be worldwide, which is amazing.
And if you had to pick one specific way that you connect with your community or your customers on our platforms, what do you think that would be? Kat, I'll come to you again first.
I suppose it's putting content out there that actually drives a reaction, making sure it's very pull, not push, not just thinking about Co-op, but actually thinking about what our community want from Co-op and getting them involved in a conversation, and then taking that information and feeding it back into the business to make change. That's what I love to do.
Cool. Tom?
Yeah, so our local community is, I mean, we have restaurants and pubs that are in a local space. So the difference between social media and Full-Time Meals is that, you know, no matter how many followers you've got, that becomes a much wider community, but much smaller scale. We set up a charity called Meals from Marlow during the pandemic. So, you know, we fed over 200,000 people and raised over £250,000 and that was all that local community, but that was all led through social media, and but that was a much smaller, in terms of geographical circle than a much bigger picture. But that was wonderful to be a part of. So yeah, that community touch point shows that it just hasn't got to be. Communities isn't just bits of paper leafleted through the local door from a newspaper. It can be much, much bigger. So, but it was really nice to, during the pandemic, for that point of view of keeping that community space local to us and close by, which, again, but it was trying to do something good for people.
Yeah, I love that as you said the word local, I saw you sort of look to the window because the was there. Right there. Penultimate question: who are your role models, or who should we follow on Instagram? Who inspires you on Instagram?
I love the rise of more campaigners on Instagram. I have absolutely enjoyed seeing the really shift in Instagram and the content on there, from these curated feeds to people using it to have a voice and get more people around them. For me, it's young campaigners who are using their voice and building communities. So people like Amika George, who campaigns for free period products in school, and people like Ellen Jones, who speaks a lot about disability and LGBTQ rights. They are some of the girls that I am really loving their content and following.
Yeah, the newest one that I've picked up is the Instagram of Dude with Sign. Now, I don't know, he's got 7.7 million followers, and every day he posts up just a random sentence on a bit of cardboard and stands there holding it up. It's the highlight of my day just to see what he's posted. For me, there's no good work about it. I'm not throwing some influencer for positive. It's just that makes me smile.
Yeah, it brings you joy. That's
I was going to say, Tom, though, that I think he has done some campaigning messages before. So it works.
I feel like you could give him a full-time Neil sign. See what he's going to do.
We could give him this one behind us.
Yeah, it's not big at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so last question, and this is very close to the project actually, because having worked with you both through the course of this project, you both work very hard. And so I guess I want to ask, what do you think the key components are of a super successful work ethic? Because I'm hoping that you've got good work-life balance, but I know that when I've been working with you, you both work very hard.
Yeah, I was going to say work-life balance is very, very different. It's been, for me particularly, you work in hospitality and you work in catering, you're there for lunch and dinner. It's been very difficult. And then the last year, obviously, the last 18 months have been very, very hard to make work. It's just been, and now we've got back open. There's all sorts of infrastructure that's really, really hard to put in place. There's so many different. I suppose every day feels like it's a bit of a battle, supply chain, blah blah. And we could go on about how boring it is. However, I'm very lucky that as an 18-year-old, I walked into a kitchen and I found a career in a space that I very much love. I haven't got a job, I have a way of life, I have a vocation, I cook, and I absolutely love it. So that motivation is because I'm so lucky to have found the space that I'm really happy to be in. And we're also now in a really lovely position where we're able to use that skill set that we've learned to be able to try and give something back. So yeah, it's very, very difficult, but the motivation is just that I've been so I'm very happy doing what I'm doing.
I'm the same as Tom. When I think about this question, it's about passion. So I'm just passionate about social media. I love it as a channel. So I think having that great work ethic is just doing something you're passionate about every single day. But then I also learned in the pandemic that you can also be a bit too passionate. And obviously with social media in the pandemic, it was never ending. So for me, it was finding other creative outlets and other passions to balance alongside, your job, that, you can then kind of switch off and go to them and enjoy them alongside that, so that you don't burn out. Because it's quite easy to do on social media.
Cool. So I guess that leaves me just to thank you both for sharing your insights into the project, for speaking so openly about everything, from the strange requests that you get on your social channels to the ins and outs of running multiple restaurants. Yeah, so thank you both for your time. And my last kind of piece of information is to the audience who are watching. If you want to learn more about the Full-Time Meals campaign, the best thing that you can do is to follow the Instagram account, which is @fulltimemeals. Thank you.
Thank you very much.